Dr. Rocky, why do you think the number of applicants has dropped?
It's been almost like the perfect storm. We really don't understand the entirety of why the applications have dropped. We have mentioned the question about eligibility with the venture capital companies as being perhaps a component. We also mentioned about the complexity of determining eligibility and whether or not a company is eligible. There's a number of companies, because of the linear fashion of this program, which is a phase 1 and phase 2, perhaps their model does not fit within the SBIR phase 1, phase 2 approach. And in addition, there's just some companies I think feel overwhelmed by the entire process of applying for SBIR grants. So there's a number of things that go on. I can't say that we understand it exactly. I think Chairman Wu had pointed out, or Congresswoman Edwards, about the complexity of this issue, and really if we had any actual data that would support our understanding. We really don't. There's a number of things that have come together, and we really would have to tease out all of those different aspects to be able to understand it.
Anything specific with venture capital participation?
Well, as we said, the ruling at the same time we saw a drop in applications. Well, whether or not that's a direct correlation, we can't say, but we did see that drop.
Okay. And Mr. Glover, along the questioning I think that the chairman was pursuing, isn't it true that a small business can be disqualified where multiple venture firms each have a minority stake, but in the aggregate own a majority of the company shares?
That's the current the situation.
And isn't it true that many small companies in this situation have been excluded from the SBIR program since the reinterpretations in 2003?
We looked at, some years later, the NIH gave us an analysis, and they said that I think after the first 2 or 3 years, they looked at it, only 50 companies had been excluded. A number of those were foreign-owned companies. A number of those had grown beyond 500 employees, and that it turned out to be very few actually had been excluded based on the analysis NIH did at the time. Clearly, there are companies that have been excluded. I'm not saying they're not. I don't think there's a huge number of them, but I think there certainly have been companies excluded.
Okay. And Mr. Glover, you also stated that Congress should renew SBIR without major design changes. Are there any changes, in your opinion, that should be considered or that would increase the effectiveness of these programs?
Certainly, we've suggested that the award size needs to go up. It hasn't gone up. SBA has proposed raising it. It certainly should be raised for inflation. And we think that there are some additional suggestions. For example, there needs to be some additional commercialization. And I think everybody recognizes we need to find some way to move the technology readiness level from where it comes out of the SBIR program closer to commercialization. The founder of the program, Roland Tibbetts, in his paper, analysis is attached to my testimony, very specific. This program is not a commercialization program, but moving it closer to commercialization, doing some testing and evaluation, some additional funding. There are good programs like the TIP program, the old ATP program, that's designed to move technology further down. There clearly needs to be something else done in that area. Whether it's part, in addition to the SBIR program, or whether it's something freestanding, we really do have a problem. We're trying to get small business up to the valley of death to look in. Everybody else says we got to get it across. I'm just saying we need to get more up to it, but we also need a bridge across that valley of death. So there needs to be something extra. I'm flexible on how that works, but I think it clearly needs to be something that goes beyond. But I don't think we want to take away from the base program that we have now.